Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm Nidhishri there, second year PGDM student at MYRA School of Business, Mysore. Before we begin, I request everyone to please put their phones on silent mode. Request all the delegates to please come onto the dais. Beluru Foundation and MYRA School of Business have collaborated over the last few years to raise awareness on cybersecurity and help build cyber resilience in India through the CyberWorks Foundation. Today, Beluru Foundation and MYRA School of Business are collaborating again to launch the first of its kind Center of Excellence for Entrepreneurship and Family Business right here in Mysore. Before we begin today's event, let us invoke the blessings of the Almighty. I now invite our esteemed dignitaries for the auspicious lamp lighting ceremony. May the flame symbolize enlightenment, prosperity, and innovation for all the ventures that will emanate from this center.
Everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce Mr. Kantra, the managing trustee of MYRA School of Business, a visionary whose dedication to academia and industry is unparalleled. Sir, may I request you to deliver the welcome speech?
Good morning and welcome to MYRA School of Business. Respected Padma Vibhushan Shri Narayana Murthy, founder and chairman emeritus Infosys, Dr. Sridhar Vitta, founder and managing director, Next 12 Entrepreneurs, Shri Ainas Iduvir Krishna Chamraja Vadiyar, the 27th custodian of the erstwhile kingdom of Mysore, Srimati Ainas Trishika Kumari Vadiyar, director Berunda Foundation, Dr. Ramashastri Ambarish, Dean and Chairman, Board of Governors, MYRA School of Business, Shri Narayana Murthy, Managing Partner and Founder, Ideas Spring Capital, Shri S.S. Gopalaratnam, Chairman, Sadashiv Financial Services Holdings Private Limited, Shri Ashirwad Agarwal, Managing Director, Triveni Enterprises, Mr. Vijay Srinath, Advisor, Cyber Foundation, Mr. Sam Cherian, Chairman CI Mysuru, Trustees of MYRA, our partners, industry dignitaries, faculty, alumni, students, invitees, and members of the press. I extend a heartfelt welcome to each and every one of you as we gather here for what is indeed a historic occasion. A landmark journey that promises to ignite the spirit of entrepreneurship in Mysore and beyond. Today, as we stand at the cusp of new tomorrow, as we inaugurate the Center of Excellence of Entrepreneurs and Family Businesses, this center is a collaborative effort between Berunda Foundation and MYRA School of Business. It is not just a venture, but a vision. A vision to foster a unified and vibrant entrepreneurial ecosystem right here in Mysuru. Now speaking on visions, I must admit that when we chose this piece of land for MYRA, its proximity to Infosys was more than just a geographical consideration. It was a symbol, a beacon, if you will, that the students could literally look up to it every day and get inspired. And today it feels like we have come full circle with Mr. Narayana Murthy sir gracing our event. It's a moment of inspiration for all of us, to say the least. Over the last decade, MYRA has been focusing on building a postgraduate diploma in management that is second to none. The program has been carefully crafted to produce leaders and visionaries who are capable of steering enterprises both large and small. It is this very expertise and focus that positions us uniquely to nurture entrepreneurship through our new Center of Excellence. Mysuru has rich history of entrepreneurship. We are fortunate to have the continued patronage of the Vadia family, who have been instrumental in fostering trade, commerce, and innovation in this region. Under the leadership of Sri Vadia, this tradition is not just being maintained, but also modernized for the needs of a new India. As a first generation entrepreneur myself, seeing this center come to life feels like a dream realized. The honor of having visionary like Mr. Narayana Murthy sir inaugurate our CoE and the collaboration with the respected institution like the Vadia family elevates this initiative to an even higher potential. So in closing, I wish to express my deepest gratitude for your presence here today, sir. Your participation lends not just visibility, but also credibility to this initiative. Let us join hands and embark on this journey together. A journey to make Mysuru a lighthouse of entrepreneurial innovation. A journey to build a world where ideas thrive, dreams are actualized, and leadership is celebrated. Thank you, and let's look forward a day filled with insights, dialogues, and above all, inspirations. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for setting the vision and for presenting the roadmap of Center of Excellence. We are honored to have with us Srimati Her Highness Trishika Kumari Vadayar. As the chairperson of the Cyberverse Foundation, she leads multiple initiatives aimed at building a cyber-resilient India by enhancing cybersecurity and digital safety throughout the nation. Further, as vice chairperson of the Berunda Foundation, she anchors various social welfare initiatives such as advocating for education in tribal schools, preserving our city's rich cultural heritage and wildlife conservation. She also passionately champions animal rights and preserving local handicrafts. Ma'am, request you to honor us with your opening remarks.
Ellargu namaskara. A very good morning to you all. I'm extremely honored to be here today to be sharing the dais with Sri Narayana Murthy ji and Dr. Sridhar Mehta, who, like most of you, I admire and look up to very much. Today, we embark on this new endeavor to harness Myso's tremendous potential as a center for entrepreneurship. The importance of innovation and entrepreneurship throughout history is unquestioned, and Myso, in fact, has been a shining example of it. Taking you back in time, knowing that there was an excess of sandalwood not being utilized even as exports to Europe, Maharaja Krishnaraja Wadiyar Avaru set up the government oil factory to produce sandalwood oil. He was gifted this lovely box of perfumed soaps from France, which gave him the inspiration to realize the potential of having to produce sandalwood soaps in Mysore. He then directed Sri S.G. Shastri, who was a qualified industrial chemist, to go to London for an advanced training on soap and perfumery technology. On his return, the first indigenous sandalwood soap was produced in Mysore and introduced in the market under the brand name Mysore Sandal Soaps in the year 1918, and of course, the rest is history. An innovative idea to make soaps from oil was realized by giving training and making the talent available via the already set up educational systems in Mysore state, and the entrepreneurial spirit ensured its success. I think that was a perfect example of Atmanirbhar Bharat 100 years before the cooking of the term. The innovative spirit of Mysore is what we at our Center of Excellence are looking to capture and rekindle, and I'm sure with our combined efforts, we will succeed. Our world is swiftly transitioning with the rise of technologies such as artificial intelligence and cybersecurity, and it is imperative for our emerging entrepreneurs to be at the forefront of these revolutions. The Center of Excellence will not only offer mentorship, but also pave the way for innovation in these critical sectors. I would like to conclude by extending my congratulations to all those who are involved in this journey, and I'm sure we will build a robust, inclusive, and prosperous center that will have a lasting value to all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for inspiring us with your thoughts on entrepreneurship. Your words have truly elevated our understanding on the path that lies ahead. Now, I invite Mr. Adarsh Ramesh, founder and managing partner of Inside Out and Desi Adda, and a proud alumni of MYRA School of Business, to introduce the visionary who needs no introduction, Padma Vibhushan N.R. Narayana Murthy, sir.
Thank you, Nidhi. Good morning, all the dignitaries on the dais and all the delegates here today. Now, before I begin to introduce Padma Vibhushan, Mr. N.R. Narayana Murthy, sir, I would like to put some things into perspective. I was born a year after Infosys went public. When I was learning how to count 3 digits in my school, Infosys started the sprawling 350-acre campus in Mysore. So neither me nor anyone here can imagine to summarize his life and introduce his illustrious career in the next 3 minutes, but I'll try to do justice as much as I can. Mr. Murthy was born on August 20th, 1946 in Siddhalghatta, Karnataka, in a lower middle-class family with 8 children. He obtained his BE in electrical engineering from the University of Mysore in 1967 and MTech in electrical engineering from the Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur in 1969. After working at the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, as the chief systems programmer, he went to work in a real-time software company in Paris. His stay in Paris and travels in Western and Eastern Europe converted him from a confused leftist to a determined, compassionate capitalist. During his hitchhiking from Paris to Mysore, he realized that the only way to solve poverty in societies is through creation of jobs with good income, and that only entrepreneurship, unhindered by bureaucracy, can make this job creation possible. This led to the creation of Softronics in 1976, which failed within 9 months. The lessons learned from this failure led to the founding of Infosys. Mr. Murthy founded Infosys in 1981. Infosys is in 2023, a highly innovative software services global company listed on the New York Stock Exchange in the US and on the Bombay Stock Exchange in Mumbai, with about US $18 billion in revenue and US $72.7 billion market capitalization. He conceptualized, articulated, and implemented the global delivery model, which has become the backbone of the Indian software industry. GDM is based on collaborative distributed software development principles and has resulted in the delivery of superior quality software to global customers delivered on time and within budget. He also introduced the concept of a 24-hour workday to the world. Under his leadership, Infosys became the leader in innovation in technical, managerial, and leadership training. Large-scale software development, quality, productivity, finance, human resources, customer focus, employee satisfaction, physical infrastructure, and technological infrastructure as well. In 2014, he was ranked 13th among CNBC's 25 global business leaders. Fortune magazine listed him among the 12 greatest entrepreneurs of our time. He received Padma Vibhushan from India in 2008, Officer of Legion d'Honneur from France in 2008, and CBE from Britain in 2007. The Economist ranked him among the 10 most admired global business leaders in 2005. The Financial Times list of business pioneers in technology ranked him among the top 10 in March 2015, and he is the first Indian winner of the Ernst & Young World Entrepreneur of the Year award. Mr. Murthy was elected as a member of the American Academy of Arts and Science in 2019. He was elected a foreign member of the US National Academy of Engineering in 2010. He is a fellow of the Indian National Academy of Engineering. He received the IEEE Founders Medal in 2018, the IEEE Hoover Medal in 2012, and the IEEE Ernst & Young Medal in 2007. He received the Thomas Jefferson Medal in 2017, James C. Morgan Global Humanitarian Award in 2012, and he has received 26 honorary doctorates from the Indian educational institutions and 11 honorary doctorates from universities in the US, Europe, Canada, and Australia. He serves on the board of the Institute for Advanced Study at Princeton, New Jersey, and the United Nations Foundation. He has served on the boards of the Ford's Foundation in New York, HSBC in London, and Unilever. He is a member of the advisory board of the University of Tokyo, ESSEC Business School in France, IESE Business School in Spain, FDC Brazil. He is also a member of the board of governors and trustee at the Asian Institute of Management, Manila. He has served as a member of the boards of well-known universities in the US like the Cornell University, Wharton School, the Graduate School of Business at Stanford University, and the Rhodes Trust at Oxford. He was the chairman of the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, the Indian Institute of Information Technology, Bangalore, and the Public Health Foundation of India. He has also served as the international advisory boards of Yale University, University of Illinois, William F. Ackmeyer Center for Global Leadership at the Tuck School of Business, Singapore Management University, INSEAD, Asian Institute of Technology, and the Indian School of Business. He is pretty much on both entrepreneurship and education and is the pinnacle of both of it coming together. He married Srimati Sudhamurthy in 1978, who had obtained her master's degree in electrical engineering from the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore as well. She is today a well-known author, and she is a well-known humanitarian, and both of them together represent simplicity, humility, and what true Indian entrepreneurs and leaders should look like. They have 2 children, daughter Akshata and son Rohan. Sir, it is indeed a true privilege and an honor to have you here. And I read somewhere that life is 10% of what you make it and 90% of what you take from it. And I believe today we are all more enriched and we will all be more closer towards our dreams and goals now that we have here with you and an opportunity to take and enrich our lives 90% more than we could have ever imagined or done by ourselves. Thank you so much for being here with us, sir, today. Huge round of applause to him.
Thank you, Mr. Ramesh. Now the moment we've all been waiting for is here. I request Padma Vibhushan and our Narayana Murthy sir and the delegates to please inaugurate the Center of Excellence for Entrepreneurship and Family Business by watering the plant. the new building for the center that will come up next year. You can see it projected on the screen now. And there we have it. We're officially open for brilliance, innovation, and transformation. Thank you, Narayana Murthy, sir, for making this occasion truly special. I now invite Mr. Tarun Santoshi, President of the Alumni Association of MYRA School of Business and Operations Analyst at JP Morgan & Chase, to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Sridhar Mitta.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor today to introduce our keynote speaker for the day, Dr. Sridhar Mitta, who has a career spanning more than half a century in the IT industry. Starting his journey at ECIL in Hyderabad, Dr. Mitta managed projects of national importance in the realms of defense and space. From there, he became a key figure at Wipro by serving as its first employee and the CTO for an incredible 20 years. During his tenure at Wipro, he played an instrumental role in diversifying Wipro's business operations, post which he launched Nthink Incorporations in the United States to capitalize on semiconductor intellectual properties. As a pioneer in the research and development field, Dr. Mitta engineered specialized mini-computer systems tailored for the Indian market. He nurtured a team of professionals who have gone on to lead the R&D initiatives globally. Skillfully combining the technological expertise with keen business acumen, he has devised products and services that are not just commercially successful, but are groundbreaking in itself. Dr. Mitta is also a patron of entrepreneurship. He founded E4E in India, a platform connecting budding Indian entrepreneurs with resources at Silicon Valley. Presently, he is the founder and the chairperson at Next Wealth Entrepreneurs in Bangalore, a unique IT firm that humanizes data analytics and has created jobs for graduates, especially women, by establishing multiple delivery centers across India, especially in the smaller towns. Dr. Mitta's influence exceeds well beyond his corporate boundaries. He is actively engaged with the Indus Entrepreneurs, that is the Thai organization, as an advisor to numerous venture capitalists, government bodies, and startups. Dr. Mitta holds a bachelor's in engineering, a master's degree from IIT Kharagpur, and also holds a MS as well as PhD from Oklahoma State University, which is a distinguished institution that later welcomed him in its CET Hall of Fame. To summarize about Dr. Mitta, I would say that he is a unique blend of technology, business, and entrepreneurship. I now request Dr. Mitta to join us by giving a speech over here. And yeah, I request you all to give him a warm welcome. And thank you, sir. Thank you for being a true Indian titan, sir. Thank you.
Good morning. Padma Vibhushan Narayana Murthy garu, Sri Yaduvir Krishnadatta Chamaraja Vadayar, Srimati Trishika Kumari Vadayar, Sri Kantaraj, and other dignitaries on the dais, and ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to participate in today's event, which is unique by itself, and we already got glimpses of why it is unique. Basically, what I would like to do is to share my journey of 50 years of professional experience and what are the lessons I learned so that it could be of use to the students from the business school and the new Center of Excellence here. I come from a small town called Chittoor in Andhra Pradesh, which is between Madras and Bangalore. Middle class family business of chemist and druggist. a large family. And I was going to school there. And one thing I learned during my school days is to how to do business. The basic concepts of profit, loss, inventory, cash flow, all those things were known to me even before I got into college. It was traditional for all my brothers to come to family business. And I was the only one who did not get into that. The reason for that is I used to read a magazine, or my brother used to get a magazine which I used to read, called Electronic Age, published by RCA, Radio Corporation of America, which was the largest electronics company in the world at that time. The tagline said, "Better things for better life through electronics." It kind of got etched into my mind that one day I should become an electronics engineer, even though I did not know what is electronics and what is engineering. So soon after I completed my schooling, I went to engineering college, first to Tirupati. There was no electronics. Because I want to do electronics, I was looking around and then found a possibility of migrating to another university, Andhra University in Kakinada, which used to offer electronics. So I did electronics. But at the end of the day, I'm not happy because the syllabus was obsolete and was teaching electronic tube circuits when transistors have already come in. So I want to go and do further studies at IIT Kharagpur in electronics. So that is the time when my brother came and told me, "You want to have fun, you had fun, come back to business." So I said, no. Then he asked me a question, "How much money you are going to make when you retire?" So I didn't know anything. So my professor was getting 1,000 rupees salary at that time. So I said, "I am going to make 2,000 rupees when I retire." He said, "You can make 2,000 today. We're going to come back." I said, no. So I went to IIT Kharagpur, did my electronics, learned transistors. But by that time, we had computers. And integrated circuits. So I went to US. So I went to US to do PhD in computers. So, but I got admission into the University of Washington, which was a good university for computer hardware, because the words hardware and software was not there. So computers means only hardware. It used to be taught in electrical engineering departments, whereas software was called programming and taught in mathematics departments during those days. Okay. So I did not get financial aid, which is difficult. So I went to Oklahoma State University with an idea of completing an MS very fast within 1 year, and then go to University of Washington. So I did well there, and obviously I got all good grades, and I was looking forward to going to University of Washington. So that's the time when my professor, impressed with me, gave me an assistantship, provided I do PhD in control systems in the same university. Because the National Science Foundation has given a grant of $1 million, which is a big amount at that time, to integrate electrical, mechanical, and all those things into one center of excellence. So I said, no, I want to do PhD in computers. I rejected. So then I shared this with Professor Ram Kumar, who was my mentor in the university, and said this is what happened. So he got angry and told, "Sridhar, don't be stupid." He said, what is important in life is how to use technology, not necessarily invent technology. So this was my life's lesson I learned, even to date, which I keep practicing and sharing with others. So later I realized this, how important it is. For example, Intel spends $1 billion to make a Pentium chip, But to make it useful in terms of computers, PCs, you need hardware, you need system vendors, you need software, you need compilers, you need people who service, support, and all those things will be $100 billion, $1,000 billion. So invention of technology is $1 billion cost, and it creates so much of opportunities, which are more technical. At the same time, the usage of the technology creates $1,000 billion worth of business activity. So that's one of the lessons which I learned, which is very useful. So within few months of being in US, I realized this is not my place. So I decided to come back to India, which was not common at that time. So people used to joke, if you're an electronics engineer, the only job you can get in India is All India Radio. I never bothered. I came back. I got 3 offers. So one was ECL Hyderabad, a public sector undertaking under Department of Atomic Energy, IIT Madras, and Department of Space. So I thought it's better to go to a commercial venture. If required, you can go back to research. But if you join a research, you can't go back to commercial venture. With my kind of inclination for business and all those things, I chose ECIL Hyderabad. ECIL was a startup company at that time under the government. And I was fortunate to get into an area, what's known as the division, which is known as computer applications. So that was the time there was a lot of restrictions on technology transfer to India, and everything we need in government sectors are projects of national importance. We have to indigenously develop from scratch. So the basics of designing computers, hardware and software, was done in BRC, Bombay, and then it was transferred to ECL Hyderabad as a commercial venture. So I was looking after Department of Space and Department of Defense. So my first project was in Space Application Center, Ahmedabad, where they used to have a huge antenna which used to track satellites. At that time, India did not have their own satellite. It was tracking other satellites. So you need control systems to manage this antenna, and they needed a computer. That's what I did. Similarly, if you take defense, all the communications of defense, you will be surprised to note, were based on teleprinters, which works on 50 bits per, or baud per second. And all the messages were using a paper tape, which used to come from every station to a centralized place, and then they used to copy and then say it again. So the average time taken for a message to go from location A to location B could be few days or few hours, depending on the priority. So when we did the message switching system, it used to take few seconds. Okay? That was the kind of scenario. So a lot of learning, a lot of new things. And being public sector, you also have a lot of freedom, provided you want to use it. So I was keeping track of technology, even from my PhD days, about microprocessors, Intel, and all those things. So when I was doing my PhD, Intel introduced a processor called 4004. It's a 4-bit microprocessor, hard-coded microprocessor. Then came 8008 and 8080. So a handful of people in ECIL got together and did a skunk project of how to take a microprocessor and make it into a computer. So we did that. We put 4 kilobytes of core memory and teletypewriter, which works of 10 characters per second as the I/O device. And we are enjoying it. So during that period, ECIL used to announce every year results, and they used to announce a new product at that time. So this was year 1978. They did not have any new product to announce. So somebody told the top management saying that here is a lab, something is happening there. So suddenly one day, when we were all working, all the heads of departments came and tried to see what we are doing. So they were impressed and said, this is our product for the year. So that product was named as Micro 78. So it was the first microcomputer in India, at that time costing less than 1 lakh of rupees. But the problem was there was no software. Who will use it? So that's when my experience and projects with defense and space came into picture, and we designed a real-time interface which includes analog to digital converter, digital to analog converter, and all those things, and started using the microcomputer for projects which hitherto was using mini computers. So that was a big success. So the learning series, one, you should not confine yourself to what is really your job or other things. There are a lot of opportunities and this thing which comes to you, provided you are open, you learn things, you apply things and other things kind of situation. So when the 16-bit microprocessor was introduced by Intel 8086, I found that that is more powerful than the mini computers we are making at ECIL at fraction of the cost. So I kind of given a proposal saying that we should make microprocessor-based mini computers. But the top management did not see that way. They said microprocessor is a toy. So we make real computers. So I thought this time for me to leave this thing. And during that process, Wipro, which was known as Western India Vegetable Products at that time, wanted to get into computers. And they hired Ashok Narasimhan as the CEO. I mean, not CEO, basically he was the general manager of finance. And he discovered me in ECIL. So they, after a couple of interviews, he made an offer to me saying that we are selecting you. I asked him, what for? R&D manager. So then I smiled and said, you must be joking. So I did my PhD in control systems. I'm not a computer guy. I did not do any R&D. I was more how to apply technology was my forte. So how can you ask me to do R&D manager job? He said, no, we have not done our homework. You are the person, join it. So at the time, many of my friends used to say, oh, you're going from a safe public sector job to private sector. What will happen to you? So what will happen if the company closes? What will happen? All kinds of questions are asked. So I asked Premji, what will happen if your company closes? Thank you. Yeah. If company doesn't do well, so we'll fire you. So the questions are quite known. And I put 3 conditions if I have to join. So first one is Ashok Narasimhan should be the CEO, which he agreed. Second is that the location should be Hyderabad or south of Hyderabad. Third one is I should have the freedom to choose my team. Okay. So all were agreed. So I joined. To get the license from Government of India for a private sector, so we have to do a lot of good things to establish your credentials. One was the technology should be based on Indian R&D. So we have given a project to Indian Institute of Science to suggest what kind of an architecture is required for Indian market. Okay. So the second thing was the location. So Government of India wants the computer industry, which is advanced technologically, be put in industrial backward areas. Okay. So what is this industrial backward area meaning? So they said there are 3 locations. You can choose one of them. One was Aurangabad. Second was Patamcheru near Hyderabad. Third one was Mysore. So Aurangabad does not qualify because it's north of Hyderabad. Patamcheru doesn't qualify because there's nothing there. It is not, nothing is there even now. And Mysore became an obvious choice. So Wipro came to Mysore, did not come to Bangalore. many people don't know. To get license from Government of India to choose a industrial backward area called Mysore was the reason why Wipro came to Bangalore and then Mysore and then Bangalore. Not because of University of Science, not because of the weather, not because of public sector and all those things. So sometimes there may be some stupid rules made by government, but turns out to be good overall kind of situation. So I joined Wipro, set up a R&D lab in Bangalore, set up a factory here in one of the industrial places where there's only one plot available, 2.5 acres, next to B. Saroja Devi's plot, because that's how people say, because otherwise they don't know where this plot is. And we take an apartment in Gokulam, where initial first 2 computers were assembled, then we came here to the factory and did that one. Okay. So Wipro was a great, it was a startup when I did not even have a garage to work from. So I used to sit in University of Science for 6 months until we got a building, 4,000 square foot building in Dickinson Road kind of situation. So we built R&D, and the products were based on what work we did. And that gave us a lot of, recognition in the market as a technology-oriented company. Because at that time, most of the companies used to bring some kits and then do what is known as a screwdriver technology. Okay. So we started making computers, range of computers, 8086, 286, 386, Pentium, and all those things. So when Intel introduced 386, which is a 32-bit microprocessor, IBM said, no, it is too powerful for a personal computer. Let's not worry about it. Compaq said, no, I am a newcomer, so I want to get an advantage over IBM. So they started making a microcomputer or a personal computer based on 386 processor. But we said that process is so powerful it could be a mini computer, and we designed a mini computer based on 386 processor. Whereas Compaq was personal productivity tool. We are doing as almost like a mainframe type of applications here. There's a time when Unix came into picture, and we ported Unix. We got a license from AT&T for the source code and ported onto the 386 processor. It is India's first computer based on 386, the world's first computer based on 386 mini computer. And Andy Gross complimented us by sending a letter saying that this is what it is. So as you keep growing, then one thing occurred to me was saying that this when my business sense got into me. First thing is I was doing projects of national importance in ECIL, but here we are making commercial computers for business applications. Why can't I start a business unit for that? So we got what is known as a systems engineering division and started doing projects for national importance again. We did parallel computers for national aeronautics labs. So we did computers for missile checkout for DRDO. We did computers for BARC for other things. But we have to keep them under the radar because there are a lot of restrictions on the usage of these processors and this by the companies. And Wipro got the first 5 years Award of National Excellence in Electronics and Computers by Department of Electronics. Continuously for 5 years we got that. Based on this work we did for projects rather than for commercial ventures. So what is the lesson here? Lesson here is you have to combine business with technology, or technology and business has to be combined. So now the question of entrepreneurship. See, many people call me, you're an entrepreneur. I completely disagree. If I'm an entrepreneur, I wouldn't have worked in Wipro for 20 years. But at the same time, I say I was entrepreneurial. So I was finding business opportunities in Wipro, which creates new businesses which are not, which we are not there, and then expand the business, expand the market and all this. I'll just narrate one of them. I did many things. So once I visited a customer, Cisco, for a review, and he was quite unhappy. I said, why? So you want to do only development, you don't want to do testing. No, we want to do it. And I came back and asked the R&D manager, why you are not doing testing? No, we want to do, but there are other reasons. So I could learn from the body language, he is not interested. Because the concept was, I am R&D, I am Brahminical. Testing is schedule caste. So we don't want to do testing. So it's an opportunity. So immediately I came to Mysore, got hold of people who are in factory, who are not highly qualified as R&D people, but they have experience. They get kick out of failing the R&D products. So those are the guys who are required. So we took and called an interop division. And called interop division. So I asked Premji, I want $2 million for this new project. He asked me how much money you are going to make. I said, I don't know. When are you going to give me return? I said, no. So then how can I invest? So he was my venture capitalist. So I said, I have a feeling that I will make money, but I don't know when and where can I choose. So then I got an idea saying that you just now, can I do it myself? So what do you mean? So just now you approved my budget for global R&D. Within that budget, I will do it. So I got these people and said, I give you $1 million. You can do whatever you want to do. Learn, go to college, go to school, go to conferences. I will get you first customer. I'll give you all the infrastructure you need from R&D. But next year, you have to make a profit of $1 million. So that was the charter. So look at that entrepreneurial thing. Even though we are not entrepreneurs, we are working like entrepreneurs within this one. So people worked and made this division. So today, Interop division is $1 billion business. More than 10,000 people work. It is the least attrition, highest gross margin, and it's happening. Similarly, how do we get chip designs done? So there are several other businesses which I did kind of education. So while doing this one thing occurred was we are a Indian R&D, captive R&D, doing computers or products for the Indian market. So that is time there is a talk saying that government will allow foreign companies to come into the India. So there was a discussion, what will happen to us? So if you're on R&D, we don't have a place because the foreign companies will have enough money, enough technology, enough these things. They don't need R&D here. They don't need production. But they need sales marketing because the field force, everything is required. So that's when it occurred to me saying that if the doors are open for somebody to come in, it's also open for us to go out. So why don't we offer the services which we are using captive for in-house as a commercial service to other companies? Because there was always shortage of good people. So we started with Intel, Cisco, NCR, and all those things, where we offered product design services starting from ASIC to applications from India to these companies. Okay, that was a big shift and a good business. We are making, scaling at 100% a year, making 40% gross margin. The customer was happy, he's getting 1/3 the cost. And the employees were happy because they're working with the latest in technologies with the great companies kind of situation. So while doing this one, we also said we are creating a lot of intellectual property. But intellectual property developed as part of service belong to the customer. So that kind of felt make us guilty. So we said, let's design IPs outside the customer projects. So, but we cannot be competing with your customers. So we should select something which is not competing with your customers. In fact, they should be your customers for those products, and we should develop it. So we developed few intellectual properties. But the marketing of them became a problem because the companies which sell service don't know how to sell IP or products. Several IT companies have tried this. All companies have failed in doing product at the time, the products kind of business. So we should separate it out. You should be marketed from US and Silicon Valley. You should raise risk money from the venture capitalists and all those things. So we set up a company called Nthink in Silicon Valley in '98 with initial funding from Wipro and to raise further money from the venture capitalists. But those 2 years were astonishing years of '98, 2000, if you remember. It was the dot-com boom and bust days. It was the days of entrepreneurship, TIE, the Indian entering into the entrepreneurship, from technology sphere to the entrepreneurship. First CEO of Indian origin, Colonel Reiki was there, and all those things were happening. So I was sitting in Silicon Valley and trying to see all those things. So two things happened. First thing is, IP business is not scalable. And if one or two companies succeed, it's by exception, not by rule. So I'm in a business which is not going to scale. Second, venture capitalists told, why should we invest in Nthink, where Wipro is the major shareholder? If Wipro doesn't want to invest, why should we invest? Alternatively, you come out of Wipro, we'll invest in you. I said no. So that is the time I decided to close Nthink and put back into Wipro. And during that period, Stanford University did a research to find out why Silicon Valley is different. Can Silicon Valley be created elsewhere in the world? It's a 2-year interdepartmental project. And they presented the results in a seminar which I could attend. That said that Silicon Valley is great because of the ecosystem created, its ability to attract best minds in the world, and an open culture and all those things. And they also said that Silicon Valley cannot be created elsewhere in the world, including Bangalore, Haifa, and all those places. So that put a lot of thinking on my head. If it is possible for, or, okay, let me put it in a different way. If you have to succeed as an entrepreneur from anywhere in the world, including Bangalore, you have to go to Silicon Valley to get to the ecosystem, right? But what I have been doing is to create products for Silicon Valley companies from India. That means we understood the problems of distance, process, various other things which make this successful. So why can't we apply this to entrepreneurship? Can an Indian entrepreneur from Bangalore can get access to Silicon Valley ecosystem without going to Silicon Valley? So I was having this concept. That's the time when KB Chandrasekhar, whose company, Xerox Communication, went public, and he made money, and he just dropped into my apartment. So all of a sudden said, let's do something. I said, this is my idea. Okay, I will invest $100 million in this. So we started a company called E4E, Entrepreneurs for Entrepreneurs. The objective is to do what all entrepreneurs require in a platter. So, but nobody are able to define what we are. We say we invest, but we are not a VC. We provide incubation facilities, but we are not an incubator. So we provide sales marketing office in US, but we are not a consultant, like that. So we used to identify areas. We used to go and look for experienced managers, good managers from Wipro, Infosys, TCS, and all those things, and say, come here. So this is the project, this is the money, this is the place, everything given a platter. We thought that's a great idea. Soon we realized it's a bad idea because good managers are not good entrepreneurs. Just let me give one example. In 2022, when there was a downturn in the computer industry, the CEO of one of our investing companies is sitting at home rather than worrying about how to pay salary next morning. He thinks E4E will come and pay. So that's when we realized that it's not a good model. By that time, we invested in 6 companies. We slowly exited them and completed that kind of phase of my life. So that was 60 years of completion of my age. I thought it's time for me to do something socially relevant using my experience in technology, business, and entrepreneurship into a social action, how to create social impact. After a lot of discussions with 2 other colleagues of mine from Wipro, I decided to start Next Wealth Entrepreneurs Private Limited. The purpose of the company is to provide employment to graduates in small towns, focusing on women. So there's a lot of debate, which I don't want to get into. Why employment, why not other things? Why graduate, why not others? Why small towns, why not other places? Why women, all those things. So the innovative model we came up is to use entrepreneurs. So in every center we want to create, we find an entrepreneur who is qualified, experienced, emotionally connected to that place. Along with the entrepreneur, we'll set up a private limited company in which Next Wealth has an option to take 26% of equity or par. And the entrepreneur is responsible for capital, recruitment, training, and delivery of metrics. Whereas Next Wealth is responsible for all customer-facing functions like sales, marketing, finance, legal, and other things. So Next Wealth is like a corporate office in this kind of situation. And because we want to grow, we want to have multiple centers. So that's how this model came into a scalable model, replicable model, and other things. So today, after 10 years, we are having 7 centers. Started a place called Mallasamudram near Salem, Chittoor, Hubli, Billai, Mysore, Vellore, Pondicherry, Salem town. We have 8 now. About 4,500 people are employed. And what we plan to do is to get to 10,000 in next 2 years. And we are hopeful of getting that. We measure our success by the number of jobs we create, not by revenue and profit. In a normal for-profit company, profit is the motive. You need revenues to make profits. You need people to get revenues. Whereas Next Wealth, we want to provide employment. If you provide employment, you get revenues. You get revenues, then you get profits. So it's similar, but not exactly same thing kind of situation. So we have 60% of women. Our customers are very happy. So we get a net promoter score of above 70 always. Last year it was 73. And we provide not BPO, not IT services, somewhere in between, related to artificial intelligence, machine learning, Gen AI, data services, which are required in large quantity as the world is transitioning towards these technologies. We provide them from these small towns. And we have done many innovative things there which are replicable here. We do at a substantially less cost. And we are creating social impact. How do you do that? We measure the social impact. We go to, every 2 years, we conduct a survey of 100% of our people. We ask them, what was your life before joining Next Wealth? What is your life after joining Next Wealth? In what ways it's better, in what ways it's not better, kind of situation. So it has created a lot of value into these people's lives, their families, and the region kind of situation. So we have a lot of data on that one kind of situation. And our large customers are taking cue from that and asking, what is the 1,000 people working for me is creating? Please let us know. We want to use in our corporate these things. We have customers like Walmart, IBM, Amazon, these kind of customers. So it's a nice thing to see these things happen. So I would like to conclude by saying that I started with technology with a business knowledge, applied technology with business, then entrepreneurial, then promoting entrepreneurship and creating social impact. So I will stop at that, and if there are any questions, I can take.
Thank you. Thank you, sir, for inspiring story of yours. My question is, I'm part of TAI Mysuru. We're trying to create an ecosystem for startups. What is lacking in Mysore that is available in Silicon Valley, and how do we bridge the gap? That's my question.
My frank answer is entrepreneurship. See, Mysore was in radar for so many years. There is a history which Narayana Murthy will tell about you, and His Highness will tell. But everything is there, but things doesn't happen. See, first, Wipro came by force, not by choice. Okay. Then subsequently, when we started global R&D, I want to set up a center here. So obviously, we need infrastructure, we need an internet connection, antenna, and all those things. So the STPI was setting up a center and said that, oh, you want to set up in Mysore, it's great. How many seats you want? I said, what do you mean, how many seats you want? I want to start a center. Okay, we'll give you 20 seats. No, I want 100 minimum, without which it's not viable. Why are you putting a restriction on that? No, we need to dig a wire between the antenna in STPI to our factory, which was in Metakalli Industrial Estate. So it will cost 2 crores. Okay, we'll give you 2 crores. No, we can't do kind of situation. So we wanted to start global R&D here in Mysore, and we were sent away. Then subsequently, when we want to do peripherals factory, we had a problem. We are not getting this thing. Then I was the president of TAI, Bangalore, in year 2000. Bangalore was the third chapter of TAI. First was Silicon Valley, second Boston, and third was Bangalore. Nandan Nilekani was the first president. So when he became CEO, I took over from him and ran for 4 years. Okay. How many meetings we had here? There's a meeting, people come, attend, talk, go away, nothing happens. See, either it should happen by force, like what happened, government and other things. You have to do this here, you have to do that, and kind of situation. Or the local entrepreneurs should go and take risks, it doesn't happen. Or people should collaborate and do these things, it not happen. But fortunately, now I see those things are changing. And anything and everything required for Mysore to become a big hub are here now. There's nothing which prevents. Okay. So the idea of a location, idea of a physical place has no meaning now. See, in the IT Vision Group, we were discussing 2 years ago about tier 2, tier 3. I said, what is this tier 2, 3? It has no meaning. So we can go, why Mysore? I can set up in Srirangapatnam, I can set up in Mandya. There is no requirement that physically it has to be there. And COVID has proven that fact. 90% of people in IT industry work from home, including small towns, villages, and all those things, without losing any metric. Okay, so it is going to happen in Mysore, you will see. Now the KDM is coming and doing one of the problems of interfacing with the government is government can make rules, can pass budgets, but they can't implement. But to implement, we need an agency in between to coordinate between the industry and this one, which STPI did fabulously good job. Department of Electronics did a fabulous job under NVITAL, and now KEDAM with BV Naidu and Sanjeev are happening now. Yeah, I'm quite confident.
Good morning, Mr. Mitta, and my name is Vijay Parthasarthi, and I have a question for both you and Mr. Narayana Murthy. One of the challenges that I see in the entrepreneurship world today is that there's a huge amount of drive towards wanting to be the next unicorn in the next 48 hours, right? And that is driven by greed and everything else. And therefore, there are very few people I meet who want to leave a legacy like Infosys or Apple or Nike, etc. And this mindset, which is probably driven, in my opinion, fueled by VCs' objectives being different from that of entrepreneurs. I see the ecosystem of startups having a negative, connotations about it, except a few. Is there truth in what I'm saying? Is there something that can be done about it? And in case yes, how?
Yeah. So, whatever you told is true. Okay. See, from times immemorial, any technology comes, it has a good use and a bad use. Okay. When multimedia came, nobody wanted to use multimedia. It was the pornography industry which invested and brought up to a certain stage, then it taken away. It's bad, it's good kind of situation. So, if you're saying people want to become rich, that is always there from times immemorial. Okay? And some people use this as a method of becoming rich or greed, like they use anything else. Okay? I'm not worried about it. See, one of the things about India is too large to be dictated, driven by certain narrow, negative things. But the system corrects itself. Okay? So you will see good companies coming in. You will see a lot of organizations, not necessarily companies, like the business school here. Why are they setting up a business school here and a center of excellence in family business? I was talking to His Highness in the morning. He was telling the reason behind it. Okay, so such things are happening. Now you see the Azim Premji Foundation spending money on education, everything kind of education. Infosys Foundation trying to do many other things. So when 1980s was the worst year in terms of economics and everything in India was so bad, but that's the time when Infosys, Wipro, TCS all came in. Am I right? So they were the worst years they came in, when the Indian industry was in such a damn stage. Good companies also come in. So they leave a legacy. They will create more companies. It will create case studies. Kind of situation. I'm not worried about it. Narayana Murthy, he will. Okay. Yeah. There are no questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mitta, for your valuable insights and inspiring thoughts. As we venture forth in building a thriving entrepreneurial ecosystem in Mysuru, we look forward for your continued guidance and encouragement. Shri His Highness Yaduvir Krishnadatta Chamaraja Vadayar, 27th custodian of the erstwhile kingdom of Mysuru, is a compelling blend of tradition and modernity, an English and economics graduate from the United States. Shri YKC Vadayar's key venture revolves around the preservation and promotion of Mysore's rich history, culture, and traditions. As the custodian of a legacy dating back to the Vijayanagar Empire, he fervently upholds and illuminates the vibrant customs and practices of the palace. His personal interests include sustainable development and merging historical ethos with contemporary principles. Sri Y.K.C. Vadayar is a firm believer in the transformative power of education and employs it as a tool for global betterment. Sri Y.K.C. Vadayar also champions innovation and entrepreneurship. He serves as the chairman of the board of advisors at the Cyberverse Foundation and has established the Beronda Foundation, striving to align the region's rich heritage with a modern, innovative ethos. Sir, I humbly invite you to deliver the presidential address.
A very good morning to everyone present here. I don't think we could have had a more illustrious, appropriate, and meaningful personality to inaugurate and open this Center for Excellence in Entrepreneurship and Family Business than Sri Narayana Murthy. It's an honor to have you here, sir, and I think it has given us tremendous motivation to build an ecosystem that is robust and adds value to Mysore society in the years to come. I always say, if you want to see what Mysore was or a window to what Mysore used to be, in Mysore city you need to visit the CFTRI, in Bangalore you need to go to the Indian Institute of Science, and perhaps if after independence and we had taken, as a society and government had taken the right direction, if you wish to see maybe perhaps old Mysore or modern Mysore in its new avatar of Karnataka the right way, you need to visit either of the Infosys campus in Bangalore or Mysore. And I think it's testament to that legacy that within those four walls of the Infosys campus, you can really see through to perhaps what could have been for the entirety of our society in what we could have added value and built in terms of our standard of living here in India. And it's truly, I think, once again, a tremendous honor that Sri Narayana Murthy is inaugurating our Center for Excellence here, and we hope to build on that legacy and add value to that in the years to come. Dr. Sridhar Mitta is here with us today, who delivered the keynote address and has inspired us all through his own journey and his own illustrious career. So it's an honor to have you here and share the dais with you, and we look forward to your advice in the years to come as we build this Center for Excellence. Shrikant Rajars has been here, who has been a partner with Beronda Foundation on Cyberverse Foundation, and very nobly so. And we look forward to this Center for Excellence partnership as well, and building that same ecosystem and that same motivation within the framework of the Center for Excellence. Dr. Ram Shastri Ambrish has always been a mentor and an anchor to both Cyberverse Foundation and will be towards the Center for Excellence. And his presence and his advice will ensure that should these turbulent time comes, we will ensure that the ship stays course and doesn't move away from what our objectives are. Ladies and gentlemen in the audience, dignitaries, many friends, colleagues who are here today, a very good morning once again to all of you. My wife touched on something of the Mysore perhaps entrepreneurial or innovative history with the Mysore Sandal Soap. And I just wanted to add a couple of things to that. I was at, a couple years ago prior to COVID, the centenary of the Haifa War, or the liberation of the city of Haifa in the First World War, in which the Mysore Lancers and the Jodhpur Lancers were able to liberate the city. And the event at the House of Lords was hosted by the Member of Parliament, the Lord Dholakia. And he was, of course, of Gujarati heritage, a UK citizen, of course. And he didn't have much of an idea of Mysore, except for the fact of one single thing, the Mysore Sandal Soap, which both him and his wife every month purchased or had sent from India for their use there in the UK. So if that is not, I suppose, the power of a brand value or something that has been created much after the state of Mysore and 73 years after independence, I don't know what else can be testament to that. The other thing which I wanted to mention was, many of you may be aware of geographical indicators, and the official list of geographical indicators lists some 250 odd geographical indicators, and I think it's testament to the Mysore legacy that around 40 to 50 of them bear the brand name Mysore. Mysore Sandal Soap, the aforementioned Mysore Sandal Soap, Mysore's Mallige, Mysore Park, Mysore Peta, and the list is continuous. Nanjangud, Rasbale, and many other geographical indicators all belong to Mysore. The reason for mentioning all of this is there is a tremendous potential within the city of Mysore for entrepreneurial activity to take forward this wealth of assets that is owned by Mysore state, or rather by the city of Mysore, or the brand name of Mysore, and convert it, or rather modernize it to within contemporary infrastructure, within contemporary ideas, within contemporary technology, to better serve and add value so that the economic income from these products generated will be greater and benefit Mysore society at large and the state of Karnataka, and in turn, of course, India itself. And I'm sure that is the objective and core aim of the Center of Excellence, is to add value to that Mysore brand. Beyond that, of course, the contemporary ideas and modern ethos that is here, harnessing that as well, will be a key agenda point for us going forward. Berunda Foundation was started in 2019. It is one of the names of the goddess Chamundeshwari, and it is in her Ashtotra as well. It is an initiative towards building, or rather having a vehicle for which the modern requirements and modern contemporary ideas of means by which we can serve towards elevating standard of living here in Mysore and building economic drivers for the city of Mysore can be channelized, and that's what Berunda Foundation aims to be. We have found a very worthy partner in the MYRA School of Business via the Cyberverse Foundation and now in the Center for Excellence, and it has been a very fruitful partnership there, and I'm sure it will be the same for the Center of Excellence as well. I'm sure many of you are well aware entrepreneurship and innovation are much used terms today, if not overused. Everybody seems to have a center for entrepreneurship or doing some activity leading to startups, etc., within their own institution. What differentiates us is the aforementioned already Mysore brand name. Together with that, we look to be a unifying force, not a competitive force. There are a pool already of innovators and entrepreneurs in Mysore. This Center for Excellence looks to be a medium through which all of us can channel our ideas, see or access capital and mentorship moving forward so that we can build and add value to those ideas that are already here. The other thing, of course, is democratizing entrepreneurship. Many of you may know the idea of people's representatives was made in Mysore around 70 or 80 years before independence itself in 1881 via the setup of the People's Representative Assembly by the Chamaraj Wadiyar X under the divanship of Sri Rangachaluru. And this idea of having people's representative at a time when there was an absolute hold on power within the palace itself was actively patronized, because without creating value to the lowest rungs of society, we cannot build or take to fruition true value towards all of us. And true representation is required everywhere, and entrepreneurship should serve the same purpose and the same values going forward. So we look to engage from the most remotest of tribal areas towards harnessing their potential. Many of you, I'm sure, are knowing of the tremendous medical or rather healthcare resources that tribals have, especially in natural care. Many of these ideas we can, of course, harness and bring towards society at large to benefit and have cheaper healthcare to a greater extent, just for one example. Many of our rural sites have unique traditions, unique folklore, unique handicrafts, all of which can be handled and pushed forward to build good value for the local villages, creating local economies as well. So the idea of democratizing entrepreneurship is one that is noble and one that we are actively pursuing as an objective goal here. Of course, mentorship and guidance within the Mysore environment is something that is very much available. We have a host of industrialists here in Mysore who have had tremendous success, all of whom will be asked to join our endeavor and join in this objective of building a lucrative entrepreneurial environment here in Mysore. We also will be adding the already Cyberverse Foundation as well as our initiatives with AI and Metaverse, etc., towards further adding value to these ideas or these innovative institutions that are coming to MISO via the cybersecurity initiative here and other initiatives that are already present in MISO. These are the core objective policies that we have and something that we will be looking to build on here at the Center for Excellence. I think many of us often are at odds with the government or with the administration that may be. And I think it is imperative that we look to, especially within the princely families, there is a notion that somehow after independence we sort of were taken away, or rather the movement of independence came in, and that is not necessarily the viewpoint that the princes had. And I'd like to read a quote from my grandfather that was during his 38th birthday here in Mysore. This was just after he had given up his Raj Pramukship so that the Kannada-speaking areas could be merged into the princely state of Mysore. And he was told by the then Chief Minister, Mr. Kengal Hanmantaya, he said, on behalf of all Kannadigas, we thank you for this sacrifice, that is meaning the Raj Pramukh's position, as the Raj Pramukh was a constitutional position, which meant he was the sovereign head of the state of Mysore. So you could not add more territory to the sovereign. Of course, in the earlier days, it would have been through invasion, etc. But now, as he had to sort of, as the chief minister said, sacrifice that in order to become, or rather unify the state of Karnataka. We celebrate as Karnataka Rajotsava on the November the 1st. The idea, or rather coming together, was that he was, of course, he says in his address to the chief minister, you have referred in your address what your generosity has turned my sacrifice. I do not look upon it as such. If destiny had decreed that over the past few centuries, the progress and prosperity of the people of this beloved state should be in the hands of the Vadiyas of Mysore, then that same destiny now ordains that the time is ripe for the people, now grown to full political stature in a free democratic republic, to rule themselves. My ancestors did indeed render great service to the state, and the times in which they lived demanded such service from such rulers. According to my rights, I have tried my utmost to be true to the spirit of that noble tradition. I now consider it my greatest good fortune that it has been given to me to see the consummation of this fulfillment. The fruition of the great trust, the rule of the Maharajas has indeed fulfilled its purpose, the purpose of making the people fit to rule themselves. I think this thought has always pervaded our family, and something that society at large needs to recognize, that the representatives that we elect are indeed a representation of our own disunity, of our own inability to channelize our thoughts and our ideas towards better means. And it is changing, I think, towards better means today. But in order for us to present or elect, or rather have representatives who stand up for the right causes and who are come to fight elections for the right objectives, we ourselves need to be engaging much more and in the idea of that rule is indeed in our own hands and administration is indeed in our own hands, and we need to see public resources not as the government's but our own. And this greater watchmanship or sort of a watchdog agenda that society should have should percolate amongst all of us in order to build that up. And through the means of innovation and entrepreneurship, I think we can have greater means to do so and thereby build India that is truly fit, or rather ruling by ourselves. So on those noble thoughts of what our ancestors have built and something that our family continues to hold itself true to this day, we hope to have this Center for Excellence move forward. I, of course, look forward to all of your support and all of your advice on how to build this and move forward in the years to come. And we once again extend our best wishes to all of you who are involved in this endeavor, and my heartiest congratulations to you on this wonderful day. I also thank all of the many dignitaries who have come here today to join us in this launch. It is an honor to have all of you here today. And once again, may the blessings of Goddess Chamundeshwari be upon all of you as we take upon this endeavor and the years to come. Thank you so much.
Sir, your words resonate with a deep understanding of both tradition and modernity. Thank you for elevating the good discourse today. I request the delegates to please water the plants once again, and then I request His Highness to honor Dr. Sridhar Mitta. I request His Highness to honor Dr. Sridhar Mitta. Thank you, everyone. We have a treat for you all. A fireside chat between Padma Vibhushan Shri N.R. Narayana Murthy sir and our successful alumni entrepreneurs. I request all the other dignitaries to please occupy the front row seats. I now call upon Mr. Ramesh, the moderator for the fireside chat, to kickstart the discussion.
Good morning, everyone. Again, sorry, good afternoon. I now call the panelists here with me. I have Shrinkala Kushwaha, the founder and partner at Inside Out Digital Marketing Company and a visiting faculty at MYRA School of Business. Mr. Anant, the director of Sri Shankara Cancer and Research Foundation, and Sanjana, the director of OOBEL. Once again, sir, on behalf of all of us, and especially the alumni and the students here, believe it, everybody, sir is really here. This was something we were all dreaming and imagining and always thinking, when would we get a chance to actually see NRN and also maybe spend some time with Mr. Murthy. I remember, sir, from a very young age, we had this Catch Them Young program. We heard about Infosys from then. We heard about your stories. We heard about many of our seniors joining the training program at Infosys. Many of our family members have been a part of Infosys. Our faculty here, Dr. Nair, has been part of Infosys. And Infosys, I believe, is a word which every Mysorean at least hears once a day. And that has truly been a remarkable achievement, and we are truly honored to have you here, sir. Now, before we start to ask our questions, we would like if you could share some thoughts and address the gathering for a couple of minutes, and then we can go ahead with the discussion, sir.
Well, I'm very privileged to be in the company of Srimati and Sri Vadaya, my friend Sridhar Mitta, Dr. Ambarish and Srikant Rajas, and of course, all of you. And most importantly, the youngsters assembled here. I'm very happy that you have started this Center for Excellence and family business. I don't know much about family business because I haven't ever run a family business. But knowing that most of the small businesses in the country run as family businesses, I can understand why my extraordinary friend Ambarish has thought of including family business. But one thing very important to understand is that if you want your business to succeed on a long-term basis, if you want your business to obtain the respect of the society, if you want your business to become bigger and bigger and bigger, there is only one important ingredient for that, and that is governance based on an enduring value system. Whether you are family business or not a family business, the most damage to business is done when the principles of governance have been violated. We have all seen, I don't need to mention specific names, how some of the largest family business in the country were split and they have become separate. And in every one of them, when I talk to the two parties involved in that splitting, each party has, blames the other party. That person was not fair to me. The other person says he was not fair to me, she was not fair to me, whatever it is. So the most important issue that everybody who runs a family business has to understand is there are three major principles of good governance, whether it's family business or not family business. And they are fairness in every transaction. What is fairness? Fairness is following what Pitamaha Bhishma said, is supposed to have said, as early as 300 BC. That's when the first version of Mahabharata was written. I think you people know better than I do. So he said, I don't want to do to others what I don't want others to do to me. This now, after the Western nations have embraced this principle of fairness, has become better known as the golden rule, and that is, do not do unto others what you want them not to do unto you. That, I think, is the first and the most important principle in governance. In a listed company, it is vis-a-vis, it is between the owner-managers and the shareholders. In family business, where the number of shareholders are small, it is primarily between one shareholder who is running the company and the other shareholders who have invested trust in that individual and given that opportunity to that particular person to run it on their behalf. The second ingredient of good governance is transparency. Most fights in families, particularly in family businesses, that I have witnessed, that I have listened to from both the parties, is when there is lack of transparency by the party that runs the business with the other parties who are shareholders. That is, the party that runs the business, even if it's listed, what they do is they start a separate company where they hold 100% of the business, 100% of the shares, and they use the resources of this family business to make that business which they hold, in which they hold 100%, to become stronger and stronger. So, and most often, lack of transparency or opacity is what is used to keep the other members of the family business ignorant of what is happening, and they will come to know one day or other. So transparency is extremely important. The third ingredient for success in family business or listed companies, doesn't matter whatever they are, is accountability. What happens in many companies is the owner managers or the managers of listed companies, who may not even be owners, they accrue for themselves a disproportionate part of the profits by way of salaries, or many cases it used to happen. Now, fortunately, SEBI has become stronger, and that is they do rights business. They used to do rights business. Some of you may know that. In the 90s, they would say, okay, I get 5 shares for every share that I hold. There, they exclude a few others. And that's where you have to bring accountability. Number 2, even when the company is not doing well, even when the company is making losses, they don't want to leave the control of the family business. And they do all kinds of things to continue to be in control of the companies. So I don't want to go on and on with this. I would request that even family business have the same principles of good governance as listed companies, and that is fairness in every transaction, transparency in every transaction, and accountability in every transaction. If you follow these 3 principles, I personally don't find any difference between a family business and a non-family business. That's what I would say. Let me stop here because this is an area where I have a little bit of experience, and therefore I can give long lectures, but this is not the occasion to do that. Let's move on.
Thank you very much, sir. Fairness, transparency, accountability. This is the new golden rule for us all to remember. Now, I open this stage for questions. We'll start with the youngest entrepreneur here, Sanjana.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful thoughts.
Tell us a little bit about what you do and your background.
Yes, sir.
Because everybody has to hear, yeah.
Yes, so my name is Sanjana. I graduated from MYRA School of Business 2 years ago in 2021. Post my completion of my MBA, I joined a company called Moxo, where I served as the marketing project coordinator and handled their event marketing for 2.5 years, along with other minor marketing responsibilities. Recently, 2 months ago, in July, I quit my job and I have joined my family business. We are into poultry and egg processing.
Excellent.
The company name is Overbell, which is a publicly listed company, and it is an export-based company. And I'm beginning to shadow my brother, who is the managing director of the company, and slowly trying to go into marketing and sales in the future. Yes. Yes. Thank you, sir. So my question to you is, Infosys has had some great leaders, Nandan Nilekani, Chris Gopalakrishnan, S.T. Shibalal, and many others. Every one of them saw you as their leader. How did you develop a group of leaders at Infosys?
Well, when I founded Infosys in 1981, I was the general manager of the company. Nandan was a software engineer. Chris was a software engineer. Shibu was a software engineer. They were all young fellows, smart fellows. I looked at a group of 100 people that worked with me in the software group at Patti Computer Systems Limited. And based on two important factors, I selected a few of them. And I invited them to join me. That first was competence, and second was value system. That is, only those who had both competence and value system were invited, because you need competence, otherwise you can't do anything worthwhile. But just competence alone is not sufficient, because many times I have found those who are super competent and who do not have value systems, they're the most dangerous people. So you need competence and values. Anyway. Now, I also realized right in the beginning that entrepreneurship is all about sacrifice. It is all about having a good vision. It is all about speed of action. It is all about what late Robert Kennedy, borrowing the words of George Bernard Shaw, said, most people see things as they are and wonder why. I dream of things that never are and then say, why not? That is the ability to imagine something that doesn't occur to most people. That's the fundamental requirement for entrepreneurship. So I said, look, the biggest principle for being a leader in a company is what Mahatma Gandhi taught all of us, and that is leadership by example. Walk the talk. And so I took 1/10 the salary I was getting as the general manager at Infosys, while I gave 20% higher to all these youngsters. Second, this has never happened in the history of the world. I just kept 23% of the equity. I could have kept 75%. For example, Mr. Premji founded the company, and even today he holds about 76% or something. For the right reasons, whatever it is. But in our case, I said, I will just keep 23%, but I gave 19% to one, 15% to Chris and Nandan, 10% to Shibalal, Dinesh, and Ashoka Roy. Because for me, my money making was not important. This whole journey of being in the company of wonderful people was what was important. What was the message that I sent to these people? And that was, a leader has to sacrifice much more than other people. Second, money is not what a leader should be thinking of as a priority item. A vision, a desire to create lots of jobs, a desire to create lots of prosperity in the community. These were the issues that I communicated to my youngsters. And because I was 7-8 levels above them at PCS, and this again has never happened in the history of the world, that somebody who was the general manager, worked with fellows who hardly had, who had less than 2 years of experience as, almost equal partners. That has never happened. But I did it because I wanted to run this marathon in their company. And that's what surprised all of them. That's what surprised everybody around me. So many people told me, no, don't do it, keep 51%, if not 76%. I said, it doesn't matter. So, when a leader leads by example, when a leader walks the talk, I don't know if you people, most of you may not know, till I retired, I took the same salary as Nandan, Chris, Shibalal, everybody. Same salary. Even though, as I told you, I was 11 years older than them, I was offered a position of assistant professor at IIM Ahmedabad when Nandan was probably in his high school or something, or Chris was in his high school. But I said, no. This is the kind of principle I want to solve. Therefore, they realized that here is a leader whose priority is not to keep control of the company and take away most of the outcome. It is a company who wants to do good things for the society, and in the process, of course, add value to investors and all of that. So therefore, they had a lot of trust in me. And that trust is very important if you want to be a leader.
Thank you, sir.
That's fantastic, sir. Competency and value system are the key takeaways from this question. Now moving on to Mr. Anant, please introduce yourself briefly.
Namaste, sir. I am Anant Srinath. I passed out of MYRA in 2015. Immediately after that, I joined a financial consulting firm. And then I went and joined my father. We run a not-for-profit cancer foundation, which runs 2 cancer hospitals, the Shankara Cancer Hospital in Bangalore and the Bhakti Shankara in Bhubaneswar. So that's my background.
Wonderful.
My question to you is, historically, the universities in America and Europe have had a close association with the industry. And how can industry join hands with academia to foster entrepreneurship in India? I'd like to know your take on that.
Well, interaction between the industry and academia is a two-way process. Let me give you an example. My brother-in-law, my wife's younger brother, has been a professor of astrophysics at Caltech for the last 40 years. He was a top ranker from IIT Delhi, a PhD from Berkeley and all of that. Now, that fellow told me about 10, 15 years ago, he said, he spends a full 1/3 of his time in selling his ideas to various foundations, various high net worth individuals, and to make, he spends another 15-18% to make proposals to NSF. So we all have to understand, particularly in a context like MYRA, which of course Ambarish would know very well because he comes from one of the finest schools of business in the world, Stern School of Business. That's where he did his PhD. In the West, academicians understand that their knowledge has no value unless it can make the world a better place. In the case of business schools, businesses grow, businesses become much more oriented towards society. They reward their employees better, they live in harmony with the society, etc. So unfortunately, in India, for some reason, our academicians have not yet realize the importance of that. That is to go out to companies and say, look, I will spend 2 months in the summer with you. I'll go and spend time in various functions. I will look out for some strategic problems which, if solved, will have tremendous value. And if I can convince you people that this strategic problem, if solved, will enhance your revenues, will enhance your profits, etc., then you can give me a big project. That attitude has not become de rigueur in India. Let me tell you, there was one case where it happened, and the individual benefited very much. I mean, 2 cases. One was Professor Pankaj Jalwate from IIT Kanpur, who came and spent 2 years with us at Infosys in 97, 98. He left us a very rich person because of employee stock option plan, and he was the first person who gave the theoretical support to the CMM level 4, which made Infosys the first Indian company to be accredited at level 4 of capability maturity model. The second was Professor Subbaraya, who was a professor at JCE College of Engineering, JC College of Engineering here in Mysore. He once visited us, and I was talking to him, and I said, Dr. Subbaraya, why don't you come and spend 2 months and see if you can add some value? He spent 2 months. We gave him the honorarium and all of that. At the end, he said, you know, you're going into this Y2K business. This was 1998, 99. You're going to this Y2K business. I can add value. I can help you people develop some tools so that you are much better than your competitors in handling these Y2K problems. And he did. In fact, we were the most successful amongst the Indian companies in terms of Y2K business. So Professor Subbaraya did such a wonderful job. And he was so impressed by the collegial environment at Infosys, by the academic environment at Infosys. He left JCE and joined us. And of course, he was the head of the Mysore Center for the foundation course. So what I'm saying is, one is, it is the responsibility of the academia to reach out to the industry. Second, somehow our CEOs in India, they are not exposed to high intellectual environments. That is the reality of India. They're all very bright people. Nobody is saying they're not. They're very accomplished, all of that. But somehow they have not realized that by collaborating with intellectuals in academia in India, business schools and other schools, and by inviting them to participate in making their companies stronger, their companies will indeed become stronger. So that, in other words, there is, you know, for us to shake hands, both the hands have to reach out, otherwise you can't shake hands. That's the second part, I think. Third is, somehow Indian industry has not been very aggressive or very forthcoming in spending a certain percentage of their revenue in R&D. Mostly indeed, there may not be that much research to be done in the industry, but even in D, we don't spend money. I think if we change these three, I do believe that the academia and industry interaction will flourish much better.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I think something along the lines of a faculty internship itself, because summer students are looking for internships. Why not even faculty do it, right? That's a very interesting and a novel concept.
I wouldn't call it internship because that's the wrong word. I would say for faculty members, They are people, they have tremendous knowledge, they have tremendous accomplishments. What needs to be done is they could become invited experts on a short sabbatical, as they say in America. So, 2 months, or even 1 month they can, because these are bright people, they can come, they can go from department to department and quickly identify between 1967 and 69. So anyway, uh, the first, there are two basic or fundamental requirements for success of an entrepreneur. First is access to market, where your idea can bring in a differentiated business value or differentiated value vis-a-vis the competitors to that market. So market is the first requirement for an idea to succeed. So, and that's the most important requirement. Second is talent, access to talent. Once you have an idea, once you have found it that it has a differentiated business value vis-a-vis its competitors, so that you have a competitive advantage over competing ideas, the next thing you have to look for is there a market? I founded a company called Softronics in 1976. I committed a big mistake. There was no market for computers in India. Sridhar was talking about ECIL. ECIL produced the copy of a computer called PDP-8. It was a 8-bit computer. Later on, they graduated to a copy of PDP-11, which was a 16-bit one. Sorry, a 12-bit computer. And unfortunately, the thinking those days was that in order for ECIL to grow, we should not allow any import of computers. That's the wrong way to support. That's the wrong way to do Atmanirbhar. Our companies must be encouraged to compete with the global best. You can provide a few advantages, but not this kind of advantage. So what happened those days was, first of all, there was only IBM 1401 and ICL 1901, two absolutely low-quality computers. One from IBM in the US, other from other from UK, ICL UK, whatever it is. And both were not really advanced computers. And the second was ECIL. ECL was making very few computers. There was hardly any software on that. I'm not trying to belittle ECIL, but that's the reality. Facts are there. Because I was involved, I developed a basic interpreter on on TDC for TDC 312, as they call. And we don't know what happened to that. Anyway, so the important thing is that you need to ensure that you have a market. You need to ensure that you have a competitive advantage. And you need to ensure that your idea has a differentiated business value. And I completely forgot the question, that's why. What was the question, please tell? You asked her.
So the question was, what are the local opportunities or challenges?
Okay,
that
I'm sorry.
people
What I was saying was, so therefore my request to all these wonderful young entrepreneurs is, please don't look at a city as your market. Please don't look at a state as your market. Please don't look at a country as your market. Say that I will produce the best product or best service on a global basis, and I want the whole world to be by market. By that, you are expanding your mindset. You are ready to compete with the best American idea. You may not succeed. You may be 1/20th of the best American idea in the beginning. But I can tell you, in a matter of a few years, you will get to 100%. And a few years later, you will be 130%. So my suggestion is, don't ever say that I'm in Mysore, but I will look at only Mysore as the market. That won't. That will not be the right thing to do. It doesn't matter, as Sridhar said, whether you are in Mysore or this or that, in this whole joke of work from home. I think, it probably doesn't matter. What matters is what quality of mind you bring to the thing, and then what market you are looking at it. So please don't limit your vision to just Mysore. That's what I say.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So the next question is from me, sir. And I'm Adarsh. I graduated from JCE college that you were mentioning about in 2015. Started a company called Desi Adda, which is into local handicrafts and art products customized for corporate and business needs. And then joined MYRA while my company was being run by the able team that I had built. I did my 2-year program, met a co-founder, and then we started a digital marketing firm. And later Mr. Sudhanma joined us and has been supporting us over the last 4 years. So that's about me. My question is, every education institution has an entrepreneurship cell or is doing some activities like a pitch fest or something like that to encourage entrepreneurship. However, what more do you think education institutions can do, like that of MYRA as well, so that they can become the incubators of bigger ideas and they can do more to support and foster and accelerate entrepreneurship?
Education is about learning to learn. All that an educational institution can do is enrich your ability to learn, ability to solve problems, ability to involve Socratic thinking, ability to do analytical thinking. That's all what education institutions should do. They should not say, no, we'll tell you which idea will succeed. No, that's not their job. So therefore, I personally feel Ambrish and his team, some of you are part of that, you would have done more than your job if you help the youngsters how to learn faster and better. For example, life is all about learning new things, every job. Because there are so many problems that crop up. And there is no solution that you can refer to in a textbook for that. Therefore, only those of you who listen to Ambarish and his faculty and extracted generic inferences out of specific instances will be in a position to do that. That's why at Infosys, when we founded this Global Education Center, I defined the concept of learnability. I did it for the first time in 1977 when I was the head of software at PCS. I said learnability is about extracting generic inferences out of specific instances and using them to solve in new unstructured situations, solve problems in new unstructured situations. So I don't know if they can do any more than that. However, having said that, they can invite entrepreneurs in different areas who have succeeded, some entrepreneurs who have not succeeded, because there are a lot of lessons even to learn from those who have not succeeded, because that's very important. Then they can invite experts who have led the finance function. They can invite people who have led sales function. To me, there are two most important functions in a company. First is sales and second is finance. Because without sales, your idea has zero value. It doesn't matter, you may be the finest technological expert. Let me tell you that we as a venture capital company have supported some of the brightest people with PhD from MIT. But they did not go as well as we wanted simply because they were not sales oriented. So while we will all salute the techno entrepreneur, the first thing a techno entrepreneur has to do is to understand whether he or she has the ability to sell. If that person doesn't have the ability to sell, the first thing they have to do is to get a market savvy, ground savvy person who can sell your idea. And second is you have to control your costs very well. Because what happens, somebody asked a wonderful question as they asked Sridhar. Sridhar, for some reason, didn't refer to the current situation about all these unicorns. The reality of unicorns is what happened was suddenly there was a lot of free cash flow available in a few important individuals in the world, including one from Japan, who I'm referring to, and a few from the Silicon Valley. Because when companies like Facebook, Google, Amazon, all of them, they grew rapidly and they sold some of it and they got a lot of money. And similarly, Alibaba, where when Alibaba had its IPO, our friend, he made a lot of money, right? Yeah. So when the supply exceeds the demand, what happens? The price goes down, right? We all know that. What is the meaning of price in the context of our venture capital stuff? You will start giving money to even ideas which are not as well tested as in difficult days. Second thing that happened in unicorns was that we do not have a very good market research company in India. That's the reality. No matter what we Mera Bharat Mahan and all of that we can say. The reality is we do not have a good market research company. So our entrepreneurs, because there was so much of money, they also inflated the market demand. Nobody checked it. And once you inflate your market demand, and once you promise the venture capitalists that, oh, there is so much demand, therefore I will grow by this percentage, what happened was, therefore I need more money. They gave more money. But at that time, the finance people in these companies were also not very bright people, obviously. Because it is the responsibility of the finance man to be very tough in allowing expenses. They expended more money. The revenue didn't increase as much as they wanted, but the expenses increased. So invariably, all these unicorns made huge losses. Now that era is over. They are all gone. I don't want to mention any specific ones. It's all gone. Except one who sold it to Walmart. That's a different issue. But the point is, now of course Walmart is making losses. That's a different issue. So therefore, that's where I said market research is very important. Estimating the correct market demand is very important. The ability to sell is very important, etc. And that's the reason why I always believe that sales and finance, of course, your idea is very important, technology is important, but more important than technology are sales and finance. In early 70s, when I was working in France, Philips came out with a brilliant mini computer. But somehow they could not position it properly vis-a-vis HP, vis-a-vis DEC, and a few other computers. Philips was so successful in tube lights, TVs, this, that, etc. But the Philips computer did not take off. So therefore, ability to position your product at the right place, ability to bring out the unique features of your product vis-a-vis your competitors, they are very important. That's where marketing and sales become very important. So finance, of course, is very, very important. Sorry,
No, definitely. I could easily summarize, like as mentioned, I would definitely take this as a benchmark of generic inferences from specific instances, right? And try to build this into my classes that I conduct here, so the students can gain more out of it and not just what is being taught. Thank you, sir. Now we can take one more question from Sanjana.
Thank you, sir. My next question for you is, if you could challenge the students of MYRA to solve one global problem through entrepreneurship, what would it be and why?
It is it's very difficult for me to say that because it depends upon the horizon of the individual. It depends upon the background of the individual. It depends upon how international his or her mindset is, because it depends upon the culture, right? Because we are all children of our own cultures, right? Why some students do very well in school, some students do? Because that culture gets developed from the family, when they're children, when the mother, and all of that. So I cannot do. However, I would say that whatever idea it is, the two filters that I spoke about, that is, one, is this, three you can say, is this an idea which has a clearly differentiated business value or value to the customer vis-a-vis all existing products? Sometimes you create discontinuity in the marketplace. What do I mean by discontinuity? For example, Netscape or Mosaic was the first browser, right? That was produced by Mark Andreessen at University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign as a student, right? Nobody had thought of that. Similarly, of course, that was based on the idea of World Wide Web, which was, of course, which came out of CERN, and that these are discontinuous ideas. Or similarly, for example, the router that was produced by the founders of Cisco at Stanford Research Lab, Stanford University. Nobody had heard of that kind of router, right? And then they started Cisco, and then, of course, Cisco. But those are very rare, extremely rare. What most of us can expect is we observe the world around us, we read a lot of stuff. Today, thanks to internet, it doesn't matter wherever you are located, you can have the same access to information. And then say, in what way can I think of an idea which is better than existing ideas? Can I make it cheaper? Can I make my gadget faster? Can I make it of a higher quality, etc.? Look at Apple's watch. This is not the first smart watch to come out in the world. No. But they said, we will make this of better features and better quality than anybody else. And they charge you, whatever, $399. On the other hand, you can get the same watch. I mean, I have it here. It is probably $20 or, $30. But it does the same thing. There is nothing more. So, and it has one feature which no other, including Apple Watch has, and that is the battery works for 20 days. I cannot charge every night. So therefore, I said, even though it is only $30, I'm going to buy it because I cannot charge it every night. I'm getting old, I forget it. So the point I'm making is, Apple understood it. I may be a stupid guy, maybe other people are smarter. They knew that there are a lot of smart people out there who will value that premium quality of Apple stuff, their branding, their position, etc. Similarly, Apple came out with their iPod or whatever, I've forgotten that also, right? Sony came out with Walkman first. Brilliant product. But Apple took over. So you can think of how your idea can have better quality, can to think of creating a discontinuity in the world. That's only a few people are blessed with that, whether it was Mark Andreessen or or James Watt, who thought of the steam engine. Those are very rare. Don't worry about it. Just think of, look at around you and then say, can I produce water cheaper, than what Bisleri does? That is a good problem. That's a good problem. So I think if you people can help our youngsters think of producing products or services that provide better value for money, or that has better features or better quality, I think that's sufficient. While I can't say what idea that it should be, I can give you a generic set of criteria, and that's what I've done. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sir, my next question to you is, by seeping into every aspect of our lives, technology has changed the way we behave and operate. The advent of data science and artificial intelligence has opened the floodgates for wide-ranging innovations in all spheres of life. How can this technology be used to improve the lives of ordinary people?
Well, look at just the autonomous cars. There is a research done by AS University. I have forgotten the name of the thing. It's in the top 10. They said today there are 4.2 million, there's one crash, there are 4.2 crashes per million mile. That's driven by human beings. They have said if you use autonomous cars, that will be reduced by 3.2 crashes per million miles. And that will save millions of people because there's so much of driving being done every day. That's one very simple example of how autonomous cars can help all of us, particularly in Indian road where the number of accidents are much higher than in the West. I think autonomous cars will reduce the number of deaths, number of accidents here. Second, you see, there is another study in the US that said that the accuracy of these mammograms that are done to detect cancer by using big data, okay, and by using unsupervised algorithms, using artificial intelligence. Obviously, you know the difference between supervised and unsupervised. This is not the place to go into that detail. Okay, they say that this new AI technology has increased the accuracy of mammograms by 30% in 99% of the cases. What that means is there is less need for biopsies today thanks to AI than before. So I think there are many, many such cases that impact the common man and common woman by using these technologies. That's what I'd say.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Shrinkala?
So I think this has been a recurring theme in the discussion today, that it's the era of fast-paced valuations. So it's very difficult for entrepreneurs to create value while ensuring that ethics remains at the core of decision-making. You've shared your 3 principles of good governance, but are there any examples or anecdotes that you can share from your personal experience in this regard?
No, I think I'll have to get into some certain things which happened when I was not in Infosys, and unnecessarily it starts thing. I am not, I have retired in 2015. It's 8 years, and some of you know all the things that have happened. But I don't want to talk about it. But when I was the CEO, I can tell you at least one instance when we followed the right principle and actually it helped us very much. First was, we had kept certain amount of money in hard currency for opening our Boston office in the US in 1994. Those days, Reserve Bank used to take a long time for providing approval to open offices and all of that, even though liberalization had taken place in 1991. And our finance department said, maybe we should deploy it in secondary market. We deployed it. We were not that smart, and we lost some money. Then I heard a lot of arguments why we need not disclose this, because there was no rule in SEBI. There was nobody in India had disclosed any such thing. Then I told them, friend, disclosure does not mean disclosing only good things. Disclosure means disclosing where you committed a mistake. That is true disclosure. So we went at the AGM, I stood up and I said, look folks, we may be reasonably good in software, but in deploying money in stock market, we are not very smart. We lost some money. Now, we will give you a promise that we will never do this again. Our share price went up. So when I asked some analysts, they said, sir, we have never come across another company in India which has been open and honest. So this is one example. Second, in 1995, just 1 year after that, a Fortune 10 company came to renegotiate prices. There were 4 or 5 companies, including TCS, Infosys, Wipro, and PCS, who were doing business with them. This was standard practice of that company to reduce the price, all of that. All my younger colleagues, they were very keen on agreeing to that demand. I was the only one who said, no, I'm not going to. I said, if we accept this, we will have to reduce for many other customers. I have always believed in high profit, my margin. Till I left, I used to have about 32% after-tax profit. Now, of course, it's lower, but we have also grown. So finally, all my younger colleagues were on that side, not agreeing with me. I said, no. The Fortune 10 company, 10 of them came to our room. We were all sequestered in Taj Residency. And I told them very respectfully that we want to be fair to all our customers. And if we reduce for you, we'll have to do it for them too. We don't want to do that because we want to invest in quality, productivity, physical infrastructure, technological infrastructure, in training, etc., etc. And that can only come from customers. That cannot come from employees. Employees can't give you money. Or investors, they give you once. But even when the stock is traded in the market, the company doesn't get any money, right? So I said there's only one person, one entity that supports a company, and that is the customer. Therefore, we're not going to accept, we respectfully decline it, and we will transition all our business to whosoever we want. At that time, that company contributed 25% to the top line, but only 8% to the bottom line. But other companies agreed, they all signed on the bottom line. I mean, they knew probably they were right, I was wrong. But the beauty of that was, I called my wife and I told her I'm going to be away about 250 to 300 days in a year in the market, and because I have taken this decision and I have to make sure that works out, and we grew much faster than all other companies with much higher profitability. So sometimes values do help you. So these are the 2 cases I can tell you when it helped.
Thank you. Thank you
It's
for
amazing,
sharing.
I think, yeah. Sir, continuing that point that you mentioned, that you called and said 300 days you won't be available. This brings me to the question of work-life balance, which is taught in every college and is practiced in every company. How is this thing of work-life balance? I mean, sometimes it's too overwhelming, sometimes it feels like it's exhilarating. What are your thoughts on the whole aspect of work-life balance?
No, let me tell you, I don't believe in this bullshit called work-life balance. Frankly, I have said it 30 years ago, and I'm going to say it even today. It is not work that tires you. It is not having reasonable outcomes from the work that tires your mind, that makes your mind weak, that brings down your enthusiasm. You know, in fact, my friend K.V. Kamath, who used to be the chairman of ICICI Bank, and he became the chairman of Infosys after me, he was once asked the same question at Economic Times awards function. So he said, he also doesn't believe in work-life balance. He said, in this country at this point in time, when there is so much of poverty, I mean, our average per capita GDP is only about $2,300 or something. It's very low, very, very low, right? Every Indian must work 14-hour days. And he said, first let us get a life, and then we will think of work-life balance. Those are his words, not my words. So therefore, I think, for example, I used to work very hard. And, I would leave for office at 6 a.m. I would be in the office by 6:20. And I would leave office by about 8 p.m. and then be home by about 9. And then my wife would have made sure that both our children finished their homework and everything. And then I would take them to East, whatever street, for McFast. There used to be a thing called McFast those days, where they could eat pizzas or whatever else, or to some other restaurant. I used to do 3 times a week. So the most important thing is what is the quality of time that you spend with your children, rather than the quantity of time that you spend with the family. Everybody understands your family is there to support. Without the support from family, you can't succeed, right? What is important is, whatever little time you spend with the family, make sure that it is of the highest quality. Make sure that brings enthusiasm and confidence and joy to the people that you spend time with. So I don't believe in work-life balance.
Note for all entrepreneurs and people who want to be entrepreneurs. We'll take one last question.
Not just entrepreneurs. Every Indian has to work. We are a very poor country. Let us understand. I have per capita GDP of $2,300 is not a big deal. Now, out of that, 42% of Indians work in agriculture and allied services, which contributes only 16%, which means that is about 1/3 the per capita GDP. In other words, people who work in agriculture and support services earn hardly $750 per year. That means approximately $2.1 or $2.2 per day. That means approximately about 170 rupees per day. Man, every one of us has to work very hard if we want to fulfill the dreams of our founding father that said we want the poorest child in the remotest village to have decent access to education, healthcare, nutrition, and shelter, and hope that its own progeny will have a better quality of life than it had. So therefore, I think this, anybody who says we have to relax and we have arrived, all of that is just wrong. Sorry.
No, that's amazing. Deserves a round of applause, everyone. Speaking truth as it is.
Sir, before we conclude, on a lighter note, is there a hobby or a talent that might surprise us? In your spare time, do you double as a chef or a musician or perhaps an artist?
No, not really. Well, once upon a time, when I was working in France, I used to cook. And later on, when we got married, my wife used to say, "You cook very well." I don't know. There's only one person saying, and she had vested interest. But in terms of, I am a great fan of Western classical music. There is a very important reason why I am so. Because my father, we didn't have a radio at home when we were in Mandya. I'm talking of 53, 54. I was 6 or 7 years. And one of his friends had a radio at home. So those days, on Sundays, for 1 hour, they used to play, All India Radio used to play Western classical music on the radio. So my father would take me and we'd go to his house and we would sit and listen to it. So one of those days I asked him, what is it that attracts you so much about Western classical music? He said, look, there are 100 experts, some in piano, some in cello, some in flute, some in viola, some in harpsichord, whatever. Each of them is a maestro by himself or herself. But one thing these 100 people demonstrate, and that is by following a certain process that is written down in the score. They all of you have watched, right? They all follow the score. And going by the direction of the conductor, they produce something divine. He said, we Indians have to learn our teamwork. And that's the only time India will progress. This he said in 1954 when he was a high school teacher. And so he said, for India to achieve success, Indians have to learn teamwork. So that's why even today I have tremendous respect for Western classical music. See, here in India, the maximum you find is Jugalbandi. You have to show you're smarter than me, I have to show I'm smarter than you. That is not a good thing. Anyway.
Right. The power of symphony, so to say. So with your permission, can we have 1 or 2 questions from the audience before we wrap up?
Well, I have to, Ambarish has said I have to spend half an hour with the students.
Okay.
So I think we should stop here.
Okay.
Because
we'll take
I
the
have
questions.
To leave at 1:15. I have brought guests here and I have to take them back to Bangalore. So I don't want to be late.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for the one and only Narayana Murthy. Now, before we get off the stage, I would request Her Highness Srimati Trishika Kumari Vadayar ma'am to please come on the stage and hand over a token of our humble appreciation and gratitude, sir, for being here. Thank you very much, everyone. Please be seated for a minute while Nidhi.
What an enriching conversation. A big thank you for all our participants and Sri Narayana Murthy sir for sharing your valuable insights with us candidly and for letting us on your inspiring journey. We will now break for lunch and come back for the afternoon session at 2 p.m. on the dot. Thank you one and all.